What's up? It's Marco, Sage of Soccer, and today I want to talk about the U.S. men's national team striker situation. We got a lot of issues right now at the 9, but we've got some players who are in form, we've got some quality players who might be able to fill that gap. And the real reason I'm talking about this right now is because Ricardo Pepi is going to be given the time off in June to recover from a really long MLS season. Then he was in the winter camps, and then he moved straight to Germany. He hasn't had a rest in a very long time, and he's just not in good enough form anyway to make the team, so he might as well phrase it like this. But anyway, we've got a couple of strikers lined up to replace them, the first of which is his former teammate at FC Dallas, Jesús Ferreira. Well, I personally don't think that Jesús Ferreira had earned a call-up until now. He's definitely in good form. He's got a really nice run in the MLS going. He's the top scorer, and his finishing had really been his only issue. He's a very good technical player. He can fit in. I don't want to call it a false nine because I don't think it's a true false nine, but we like to have our strikers drop really deep, collect the ball, and be involved in the build-up play, and he's very good at that. I'd say he's probably our most technical player at the striker position. I think he'd be a very good number 10 if we wanted to play a number 10, but we don't. So I think he fits very well into our system, but at the same time, he hasn't really translated that to good national team performances yet. Was terrible in Olympic qualifying. He's had a couple of good moments as a substitute, and in blowouts, but he's not the best striker that we have. I'm not really confident in him putting the ball into the back of the net, but he has definitely earned an opportunity to show what he can do, and I think at this point it's his spot to lose because Berhalter does like him. Next, we have Haji Wright, who's really come out of almost nowhere. I actually did list him in my breakout players for the season going into it, but I really was not expecting this. He's in amazing form in the Turkish Super League right now. He's been a better player than World Cup qualifying top scorer Kyle Larin this season. He's been a top American prospect for a while. I've actually heard rumors that when Christian Pulisic was scouted by Borussia Dortmund, they were there to actually watch Haji. So he's a quality player, and he's been playing with guys like Weston McKennie, Luca de la Torre, and Christian Pulisic, obviously, for a long time. So I think he'll slot right into the team chemistry-wise, even though he hasn't been there for a while. So as a player, he's finally recovering form. He was pretty poor at a run in Schalke, but now he's moved to the Turkish League. He's doing well, and he's putting the ball into the back of the net, and that's all you can really ask. In addition to that, he's a 6'3" player, and he's very strong. However, he's kind of a completely different player to Jordan Pefok. He's a very technically sound player. He's got a great first touch. His hold-up play is really solid, and he can make a couple of really nice passes. I think the year spent with Raul at New York Cosmos has definitely helped him as a player. Then I think it would be fair to say that he's probably not as technically sound as Jesús Ferreira. He's not as good as a finisher as Pefok. He's not as strong as Daryl DK, but he isn't far away in either of them. And I think he might just be the striker who really fits our need in this system because we do like to kick the ball really long a lot of times, and he can go up and win those headers. We do like to have our strikers drop deep. He can be that guy who can do it. We need our strikers to score goals. He can do it. And again, it's going to be tough to say. He might just be in form. Maybe this is just a flash in the pan. But again, like Jesús Ferreira, he's definitely earned a look. Next, we have the guy I just mentioned, Jordan Pefok. And with him, I feel like we know what we're going to get. He's a huge striker with an eye for goal with limited technical ability. I'd say that's extremely valuable in this team, but Berhalter would disagree. I think with how we are right now, we really struggle for goals. Having a guy like that in our team would probably be huge. I'm actually looking ahead to the World Cup. I don't think that being a huge striker will actually help us out that much. When I was saying that in the past, it was because a lot of teams can really struggle with just the big, hulking striker who you just don't know what to do with. Like I think if you go back to Akinfenwa, he just retired. Or I think Wickham in the playoffs actually, so I don't think he's actually retired yet, but he's going to retire. If you watch him in the FA Cup, when Premier League teams put their young guys up against him, they just don't know how to deal with Akinfenwa. That happened to Cameron Carter-Vickers in the FA Cup a couple years ago. So, it's something that teams can't deal with. So that's why you really want that huge striker. But we're going up against England and Wales, and, they're the guys who perfected that. You think that John Stones and Harry Maguire are going to be struggling against a guy like that when they deal with Chris Wood every week? I don't know. Like, it was something I was kind of hoping for if we got matched up against a different team, but I don't think that just being the big striker is going to be as valuable as I thought it would. But it's something that we shouldn't take off the table. And if he's in amazing form, like he still is, I would definitely want him back into the team. But it's looking like it might not be happening for Jordan Pefok. Next, we got Josh Sargent, who, at this point, I think he's a less informed version of Ferreira. He has the pressing ability and technical ability that we need for this team, but he can't find a goal, and it's disappointing because I thought he was basically a lock before the season started, but he needs to score goals, and even in bad teams, a lot of times you're able to find that goal-scoring form, and he hasn't done it, and he's definitely not good enough as a wing with our team, so I don't think you can call on Josh Sargent at the moment, which is really disappointing. But hopefully he can go to the championship, maybe get a couple of really good runs going. Him and Daryl DK are going to be competing, and I think he does have what it takes, but you can't justify calling him for the World Cup. And last guy I want to go really in-depth with is Matthew Hoppe. He might just be our most talented striker, but he can't get a game at Mallorca. He showed how valuable he can be to the team at the Gold Cup, where I think he was our best attacking player by a wide margin, and he fits our profile for a striker. Good with his feet, tall, fast, can score goals, and I would still call him up to the team in June. I mean, like, we already had a camp for MLS players who just weren't playing at all. I feel like we can do the same thing for the European guys. I actually want him to stay in Mallorca. I feel like it's a good situation. I think the training sessions that he's getting is probably really helping him. He's gotten to play against Real Madrid and Barcelona, and I think that the team rates him. He's constantly getting on the bench, and he's clearly not being frozen out. So I think with a full preseason under him, if he can finally stay healthy, he should be playing a lot next season, even if that's in La Liga or in the second tier. Plus, Shaq Moore's already shown us that we can make the national team from the second tier in Spain. So I feel like Matthew Hoppe, he should be staying at Mallorca. It is a struggle, but we just saw with Haji Wright. If you stick it out, eventually things could work out for you. So he's a great player. He likely won't be included in this team, but I think he should be, and I think he has a lot to bring to the squad. And like Josh Sargent, like Daryl DK, I'm hoping that he can really show his stuff at the start of next season, maybe into the team. So that's just going to run through some guys. Daryl DK, he's currently injured. Can't really talk about him. Nicholas Giacchini, he's mostly been playing wing, and Yazzie Zardes is trash. So going into the June window, I'd probably call up Matthew Hoppe, Haji Wright, and Jesus Ferreira right now. I know that Berhalter will call it Ferreira and Wright. He's said that. Well, he said Wright, and he's obviously going to call it Ferreira. I really don't know who the next one will be. I don't know if there will be a next one, because we're not exactly a team that thrives off of strikers, so maybe there's a chance we start experimenting with Pulisic as a bit of a false nine. Reyna can play there as well if he's back healthy, so maybe he puts Jordan Morris up there. I don't know, but it's definitely going to be interesting to see, and I think we definitely have options at the strike position. Form's going to be important. Their overall player profile is going to be important, and some guys are going to have to step up, because right now I'm not too confident in this list. But if they can show their stuff in June, if they can stay in form before the World Cup starts, it might not be an issue at all. So yeah, that's all I've talked about right now. See ya.